Alrighty, so when I did the showcase yesterday for the new Gloxinia, I used the Chad King, and of course, people want to see Jelly King because I mean you have probably already seen a JP player or somebody use this team already because it kind of blew up as soon as Gloxinia dropped. Of course, that Jelly King could actually be used here, and he does really well. So I'm gonna run attack crit on him. Everybody else is on HP defense, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, not that I don't like Jelly King, I do enjoy Jelly King, but once I used him in the last Chaos PvP season, which we have a new one coming up as well, but once I used him in the last one, it was kind of, I mean, it's pretty much just a one-note kind of team. It's not super exciting, I guess, in the sense that there's not a whole lot going on with it. You basically just buff up, use the weak point skill. If Jelly King survives and they don't die from the weak point initially, then they basically just die to the bleed damage anyway. So it's a cool team, and don't get me wrong, I do like Jelly King, but he's been out for quite a while at this point. So I'm just a little, I don't want to say I'm over it, but it's not got a whole lot going on. Either that happens or you get out CC'd and it kind of falls apart and it doesn't really go all that well. So that's kind of the biggest thing, at least like that I have a problem with this team, is that even though it does have the really high damage that you're kind of looking for when you're using Gloxinia, because let's be honest, he's basically a support. His bleed card can do some okay damage, but for the most part, you're kind of just using him to get those defense-related stats, and the fact that we can put the bleed on from the Holy Relic that King has is actually kind of nice in the sense that if they do survive, it should potentially make them do less damage to us because it lowers their crit damage and crit chance. So it's kind of got that going for it as well, but to be honest, most of the time when you're using Jelly King, you're either expecting to completely wipe with it or I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's very one-dimensional. It doesn't have like actually a whole lot of like excitement going on. Because realistically, when it comes to PvP, unless you're just looking to get easy wins, which I mean I'm sure some of you are, but I don't really play PvP to just win. I want to actually have kind of like an exciting match, I guess, when it comes to that. So maybe a little bit of a weird one, but I don't know. I'm not really that worried about it. So this team actually has a little bit of potential to kind of mess with us some. I think we can go for... maybe... I would like to put the bleed on here, but obviously he's got Feraldrin, so that doesn't really work. I could, even though I'm going to get Gloxinia's commandment procced on him from using 2 skills here, I think I'm just going to put bleed on both of these characters so that way they can't do a whole lot of damage to me. Actually, pretty good damage there. And then, if we can get him below damage cap, hopefully we can use the weak point skills here to kill. So, I think what we can do is potentially another single target on Melee. Well, he's actually above damage cap at this point. Maybe we go single target. Yeah, okay, now he's below damage cap. So, let's just go for... I kind of want to use like a level 2. He does have defense-related stats on, so let's go for this into this, just in case. But we should kill Demon King pretty easily here. Kills off Melee as well. I mean, that one at least had somewhat of a little bit of thought going into it, which is fine, but I don't know. Do you see my dilemma here? It's not really that big of a deal, I guess. It's just really coming down to like personal preference more than anything. It's just not really my cup of tea when it comes to like actually exciting gameplay, you know? Like, it's a cool team, don't get me wrong. And Jelly King, whenever he first came out, really not that great of a unit. And then he slowly became more useful in like kind of niche scenarios. Every once in a while, they'll actually give Fairy some support, and he always seems to be the go-to character to use if you're just looking for like quick and easy, like big damage plays. But after whatever happens, like with LR Gloxinia, for example, once the hype kind of dies off for him a little bit, I don't really expect King to be really played often, if at all, because you really have to have like high CC to mess around with him. You pretty much need to go first, or else the whole thing kind of falls apart. Because as soon as he dies, the bleed gets, taken off, and well, I don't know if it gets taken off or not. I think it does. I think it just completely removes the bleed, because the whole point of bleed is that it does a percentage. I think it's like 60% of the damage dealt, again, like whenever it procs. So obviously that's like pretty cool, but I don't know, we'll see how this one goes. He is putting on a lot of debuffs, of course, because of this team, which means that he's going to have a lot of damage reduction, so I don't really expect this to go super well. I do have an extra weak point skill. I feel like anytime you use double weak point, though, it never does exactly what you expect it to. I don't know. We'll see how it goes right here, but boom. Okay, pretty decent. And then a second one you would expect it to do pretty well. Oh, actually, I completely forgot that I got Gloxinia's commandment procced on me there. So obviously the 30% damage dealt, or not 30% damage dealt, it's 30% attack-related stats, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of ruined it a little bit there. So it's just kind of like a weird scenario. Because, I mean, even then, if I would have used anybody else's cards, I would not have been able to kill, like, Melee, for example. And he's really the one that I need to kill ASAP. So King is going to die. Okay, actually kind of tanking. He does use the single target on him. So he's dead at this point. We're unfortunately not going to see the bleed here. Yeah, it just completely removes it, unfortunately. And then once he dies, I've noticed that it's kind of just a trend with, I'm going to end up proccing the passive on her, or the commandment, but I literally can't do anything else. I don't have another card. I could have just moved it maybe, but I'm not really worried about her doing a whole lot of damage regardless. I don't know. This skill right here is just a little bit hit or miss. Like, it can do okay, but I don't. I'm not used to seeing it do more than 100k, and sometimes it does way less than 100k. So, I mean, we are playing geared right now, so 100k was not maybe as impressive. If I was playing ungeared like I was yesterday on stream, that probably would have been a little bit better, but for the most part, I'm going to get stunned here, so this is completely pointless. It just doesn't really work out too well if you go second, you know what I mean? So it's just one of those teams that you have to go first, basically, to do well with it, and those teams are never, like, super fun, in my opinion. They're normally pretty just, like, glass cannon-y, you know? Like, you either insta-kill turn one, or, like, do enough damage to where they can't recover from it turn one, or you're in a really bad spot. So it's just not really my personal preference. But like I said, I don't know. It is fun to use King from time to time, because he's not really a character that you get to use very often. So, I mean, he does, have that kind of, like, niche sort of use case factor, which is kind of fun from time to time. But, yeah, I don't know. For the most part, it's just kind of, like, it would be fun for this video, but I probably won't touch Jelly King again unless I'm just looking for, like, wins on, like, Chaos PvP, for example. But because LR Gloxinia has come out, and they gave out Jelly King pretty recently. They gave him out for free on one of the banners, if I'm not mistaken, for, I want to say it was Elizabeth's Festival. There was a way to get him for free, and he was on one of the banners as well. So a lot of people are going to have this character now, and I assume his value in Chaos PvP is going to go much higher at this point. So we'll see how that goes. But he was like a trump card that, like, a lot of the big whales were using in the last Chaos PvP battle, where they could just easily get a ton of damage off and then kind of just get easy wins like that. So he's disabled, but if we kill Demon King here, he's probably going to get his ultimate off, which is not good. Does he have the Tarmia link on? No, he doesn't. I guess we'll do this. King's corrosion card, or poison card, sorry, actually can do some pretty good damage, so I'm not going to hate on that. Okay, does kill. I need this to kill Demon King, but okay, we crit. Okay, surprisingly, did pretty well there. We got really lucky with only having, like, I think 1,000 or 2,000 CC over this guy. If he would have went first, we would have been probably screwed. Especially because I think he drew double AoE with melee turn one. So the Gloxinia commandment does help a little bit in those scenarios, but as the person using Gloxinia, you really have to be very careful with the cards that you use. So I don't know, it can kind of bite you a little bit, which is very unfortunate. I didn't expect them to change the commandment by any means, but it definitely is like a double-edged sword that you don't want to have to worry about sometimes. So I'm assuming we'll probably see some people mess around with like Demon King with him, for example, so that way, you know, he disables the commandment, and then you're also making the Demon King, and I assume you'll probably run melee with him a little bit tankier maybe. That could be kind of an interesting strat. That way you don't have to worry about the double attacking and everything, but I don't know. We'll kind of see how the meta sort of progresses now that he's out. I don't know that a lot of people are really that worried about him after the sort of showcases that we're seeing on the JP side of things. I feel like after those first couple of days of LR Gloxinia being out, people had kind of made up their minds on not really caring that much about the unit, which is a bit unfortunate. I do think that he's a cool character, but they really did kind of shaft him on his kit, unfortunately, so that kind of sucks. But I guess it's just one of those things. Like I really wanted him, even if they were to make him like fairies only, for example, and then made him better, so that way you have to run him with like these niche kind of like bad-ish units. Like obviously I still like this Elaine. This Elaine's still really good, and like I said, Jelly King can be pretty good. You know, if you go first, but he's a broad character, which is great, honestly. Like, being able to use him with any team, any unit, that's good. Like, ideally, that's the scenario you want. But I feel like because they made him broad and like able to be used with whoever, they kind of made him not as good because they didn't want people to abuse him with other units. But I feel like if they would have locked him down to fairies, they potentially could have made him a lot stronger and not had to worry as much. But I could be wrong. Who knows? I don't know what their thought process was when making this character, of course. So it's maybe one of those things that I'm just overthinking, or I just don't know how the devs were kind of looking at building this character. But here's this. Okay, that actually did pretty good. Can this kill? We crit for 63k. I mean, I know we're on HP defense with Glocks, but that Sever card is really not that good. I really wish they would have done something besides Sever. Like, he obviously does have higher crit chance now that he's an LR character, but, you know, I don't know that it was really enough. Like, I think a different skill effect could have went much further on a unit like this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know, man. Let's put bleed on him. I'm not going to be able to attack disable. Actually, I think he'll end up purging the defense-related stat lower off, if I'm not mistaken. So we might be able to get away with the attack seal here. The problem is I still have that stun on, so it doesn't matter what cards he has here. The debuff cards are still going to stun Glocks. So I'm pretty much screwed either way. I could move this, maybe put some more pressure on by having Elaine's ultimate as well, but realistically, Elaine's ultimate's not going to do very good, and Glocks is basically my only hope here. So I'm kind of screwed. I think maybe if we can get like another decent fairy DPS character potentially, that could be really nice. Because if we can get another fairy DPS, then it won't just be 2 supports, you know, as your only option once they kill, like, King, for example. Because I think a lot of the teams, if you're going to be running full fairies, King is basically your only option for damage, whether it be, you know, Blue Chad King. I'd be interested to see if the OG Festival King could do okay, but I would assume he's not going to be anywhere near comparable to the Jelly King, for example. But there's just not a whole lot of, like, different units that are fairies. Like, you know, all of the kings have the same name, so you can't run various kings or on the same team, blah, blah, blah. You know, that kind of whole spiel. But I did say it on stream last night, but I kind of hope that they end up doing maybe a new Ragnarok character as a fairy or something. Because, like, there's just not enough fairy units in the series of Grand Cross that are worthy of making units and stuff like that out of. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see something kind of unfold. I hope that they have some sort of plan for the new Gloxinia now that he's out. But I would not be surprised if they kind of just leave it where it is, and he ends up just becoming a little bit more irrelevant. So that will be very unfortunate if it does happen. But either way, that is Jelly King. Pros and cons. If you have high CC, you can bully the little guy, I guess, which is just not really my play style, to be honest. So either way, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to let me know teams, suggestions, or anything. I do have a couple of them that I kind of want to get through this week, but I don't know, could be kind of fun. So thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on Jelly King, and I will see you guys tomorrow.